Hey guys, welcome back. All right, today we are going to do the review of the Etrol, or is it Etrol? I don't know. Folding carbon fiber hiking trekking poles, which open just like that. There they are, open, lickety split, real nice. I did an unboxing of these, which I'll put in right here. I'm going to unbox these poles, and they come in two separate boxes. Comes in a pretty good bag. Nothing else in the box. I'm just going to open one of these right now so we can look at it. The size is exactly what I was after. Already see it comes with some different little tips, little feet and whatnot. There's one for like snow or soft stuff, and maybe regular hiking. I'll probably use something like this. Then they got this guy, little hard tip surface thing. And here's a pole. It's pretty light. Just at a really quick assessment here, I feel like this is actually really good. It's very light. I'm sure that the really sporty nice ones are even lighter, but breaks down pretty quick. So this is just like that, and I could pack it away. So yeah, there it is, completely extended. Hopefully that showed some of the accessories and so forth that this came with. Now it's time to get to my actual thoughts on these. I used these for one day, but it was a tough day. I put so much into these poles. I used them for 67 miles straight. I had them in my hands. They were either using them on the uphills or running with them in my hands. 67 miles straight. No breaks, no sitting down, nothing. Straight through. I did the Leona Divide 100-mile ultramarathon. I got my fancy 100-miler buckle. Finished the race. And from the 50K point, there's a checkpoint at the 50K mark. And when I hit that 50K mark, I busted out the poles and I used them the entire rest of the race. So that was actually around mile 33, a little over 50K. Whole rest of the race, had them in my hands. So that said, they're light enough that they did not tire my arms out. And I was either, like I said, I was either hiking with them up the poles, up the hills, trekking up as quick as I could, or when I was running, I would hold them in my hands. I usually had both of them in one hand, trucking along. And again, they are light enough that they didn't toast my arms. And when I was looking at these, I did a lot of shopping around for an inexpensive trekking pole. And these aren't quite inexpensive. They're sort of in the middle. The cheaper ones, there were a lot of mixed reviews, and they would have really good reviews, but the reviews that were harsh were kind of like specific to things that I might be doing. So I was like, oh, I better be careful. And then these got really great reviews, and they had some features that the Black Diamond trekking poles had that were very similar, but they were about twice as much money. So I've never run with any kind of poles before, and I didn't know if I was going to like them. So I'm like, I don't want to spend 140, 150 bucks on Black Diamond, or even more, 200 plus for some other fancy poles if I don't know if I'm going to like them. So I was trying to find something that was like good enough. And I was very pleasantly surprised with these. I have the little nubby here so they don't poke the floor, but they have the little sharp tip, and I think I showed in the unboxing video all the accessories that you can put on here. I didn't use any of those for this race. I was racing in the dry California air, and all the ground is hard packed kind of sand, so I wasn't worried about the sinking in and needing a stopper or anything. So I just used them just like this, and they were great. And again, they fold up super quick, really easy to put away. However, after I opened them, I didn't fold them back up for the whole rest of the race. I used them just like this and really put them a lot of use on the uphills. Every uphill I used them. And there was almost 17,000 feet of elevation gain during this race. So they got a lot of use, really hard use. Now, another thing is that before I ever used them, I had them on my backpack, and probably mile 30 of the race, right before I was going to start using them, I fell really hard. And I rolled out like this, and they're on my backpack, just strapped to the back, and then landed on them, on a bunch of rocks that were like the size of grapefruits. And I mean, I fell hard enough that I fell and slid, and I just heard the rocks hitting the poles, and I was like, oh, great. I probably just smashed my carbon fiber poles against these rocks. I haven't even used them yet at this point. Right before I took that last video, I wiped out real hard. I tripped on a rock and I rolled, and somehow I didn't get all busted up. I hope I didn't mess up my brand new hiking sticks, because they were on my backpack and I literally slid right on them. So hoping I didn't break them. They're carbon. They do not like rocks to hit them that way. So there's some scuffs and things on both of the poles, and they didn't break, which is awesome. Clearly they're good. Everything worked really great. Didn't break, but I did have one issue, which I think is related to that fall, which is on the other pole. I put a little blue piece of tape on here to mark it. Now this pole still works completely fine. Like, I wouldn't have noticed this, but I went to do a gear, show off all my gear that I used on my 100-miler. And in the process, I realized that there was a little something that happened to this pole. Now, one of the features I liked on here, this is kind of important what I'm about to say, are these little plastic wraps over the cord that runs to the inside, because the cord is what holds everything together and keeps it sturdy. But these little edges are a wear point. So when they're folded like this, as they rub back and forth, you're likely to rub that cord and cause it to wear prematurely. But this little plastic cover is really great. And this is something that Black Diamond trekking poles have that I liked. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, that's a nice feature. But when I was after the race and I was putting all my gear through the thing and trying to show my gear to another video, which I'll post here soon, I realized that I couldn't see the plastic piece. I thought this had come undone and was up inside. But what had happened is this little aluminum piece had slid out like this. So I could see the actual cord inside. And I didn't realize what happened. I went looking around to see if this thing was loose or it's gone inside. But then I realized that, oh, the whole piece slid out. Now, that said, to me, this is not a huge deal. I can fix this pretty easy. I can literally see the marks on here from when I fell. And I think when I fell and hit the rocks, I like hit it hard enough to break the little adhesive that they use, probably some kind of epoxy. So similar to bicycles, where if you have a carbon bicycle and the bottom bracket shell that's inside is held in with an epoxy, typically it's aluminum or titanium or something, use an epoxy to hold it in. And sometimes the epoxy will crack loose. You have to re-glue it. To me, this is not a big deal. This is definitely not a game changer in any means. I'm still going to give this a really great review, because to me, this is fixable. And I also think this is something that happened when I had my fall. This did not at all affect the use. I didn't know about this being wrong until long after the race. So the whole race, these were totally fine. So, this is the other pole. And when I was going up the hill, I used them. Got my hands in the straps here like this. And when I'd run, I would pretty much carry them for the most part. I did use them a little bit while I was running. One thing, I will say that the grips are very, very comfortable. But I wore gloves only because I saw some other ultramarathoners saying that if you're going to use trekking poles, it's probably worth it to wear some gloves just to make sure you don't get blisters. Now, I don't know if I needed them or not, but I wore them anyway. I didn't get any blisters, and these gloves are relatively inexpensive, just enough to protect my hand a little bit. I think it probably would have been fine without them. And if you're just using this for like a normal run or a normal hike, I don't think you need gloves, but I did use them. So that's my only experience with these things. But the handles are very comfortable. They're kind of like a nice formed foam. They fit the hand really nice. And again, really, really great. They're light, awesome. And they're extendable, which is another thing that was like the Black Diamond, where you can open this here and then change the length. Now, I'm 5'10", and at the lowest setting, at the bottom, it's just maybe a hair short of what I would use if I was just checking along on flat. But for uphills, I didn't mind it being a little bit shorter because the ground slanted up, so this worked great. I never adjusted them the whole race. I just left them at the low setting. Again, if I was using them more on flat or more on downhills, I'd probably extend this a little bit. And I like that this can be extended. It's one of the things with the fixed size folding trekking poles is that I was like, man, if I like to be able to adjust them. The ones that I hike with are aluminum and they're telescoping, so I can adjust them to size. And I realized if I was hiking downhill, I'd always make them a little longer so I could get a little more reach. And I liked that. I did not like the idea of having a pole that was completely set. But yeah, totally worth the money. Very pleasantly surprised with this purchase. So I'm still going to give it a great review, probably a 5-star, even though I had that issue. Again, I blame me for that. I don't think it's the product. I think that's my fault. So yeah, not sponsored or anything. I'll put a link to this in the description below. As of currently, I don't have an Amazon affiliate link or anything, but if I get one, I'll update it. But I'm not making anything off of this. So yeah, it's not sponsored or nothing like that, but really, really enjoyed these. Very pleasantly surprised. And I hope this review was useful. If you've tried them, you had a different experience, put it below, let some people know. But yeah, really, really happy with these. And I'm sure I'll get a lot more use out of them. But hope that was helpful. I'll see you kids soon. Later. Bye.